What's up, guys? Good afternoon. Wanted to hop on with you guys, talk to you a little bit today. Today's Friday, March 19th, and I want to catch you up, let you know what I was doing. I have a race tomorrow here locally here in Jupiter. It's called the Picnic Island 10-hour Ultra Rush. So they got a 10-hour and a 6-hour around a 3.5-mile loop out there, just shy of 3.5 miles. And I just wanted to give you guys an update because this marks like 2 years. This is actually the first race, the first ultra race that I ever did almost exactly 2 years ago. So by kind of preparing for this race the last few days and thinking of what I need and what's going on and just talking to my friends about it, it's really made me kind of think back of, because this is really the only race I've done for the second time. This is my first ultra that I did. And so it kind of made me start thinking of like how I felt during that race, how many miles I did, and just all the feelings that came up from when I ran that first race. That was my first ultra 2 years ago. I did a few Spartan Mud races before that one, like an 8-mile and like a 12-mile, but this was my first ultra event. I ran 34 miles, and I was broken, man. I had no clue what I was in for. But it was kind of neat just thinking about where I've came just in the last 2 years. It feels like it was yesterday, but it also feels like it was a long time ago. And then I just think of what's kind of been created or came to fruition since then. So 2 years ago, it was that year, it was 2019 roughly, is when I started doing these type of ultra races. I started with the Spartan Mud races. I did a few of those earlier in the year. And then the next one up was the 10-hour here at Picnic Island, and it's, if you go back on my Instagram, I think it's when I first started my Instagram page. It's like my second post. You can read what I wrote, but it just goes through how I was feeling throughout the race, the feelings I went through, being able to surpass like just running a marathon, because I've never been a big runner. I've always been an athlete and done different types of things, but never done any type of running over a few miles tops. And then leading up to that, it was just a few 3-mile runs. So it was funny because one of the girls I met out there that is one of my ultra buddies now, Jessica, she's crewed for me for my last race, and she was talking to me. She's like, "Oh, how much of training have you done? Have you ever ran one of these? Have you done?" I said, "No, I just ran like a few laps around my neighborhood. That's about it." And then she saw me at the end of the race, and I was broken up, man. It was bad, but it was if you look back at that post, it just talks about really just shattering all self-limiting beliefs that you have on yourself. Back then, that was when I was starting to listen to David Goggins. You can look back, I was wearing his shirt, "What Would Goggins Do?" So I was all about that. I still am. He's still a savage out there. I love his stuff. But for myself to be able to experience that, if you look back at that post, I talk about running through the marathon distance, so 26.2 miles. So just my mindset going into it, never ran more than like 3 miles at a time. Being able to surpass a marathon distance, it was emotional in the best way possible, and it was it just almost like a surge of electricity. Although I was broken at that point, just pushing through that, and that kind of like springboarded my whole adventure the last 2 years. Looking back then, I was looking back at what I packed, my pre-race meals and electrolytes, and I remember I just went and bought these little single-serving packets of electrolytes, Body Fuzz or something from Vitamin World, and all this goos and stuff. I haven't had any of that stuff since, but it's just funny to look back on, just hopping into it as such a rookie in it, and just seeing how far I've came. Because after that, man, I really got the bug. I was like, if I can do this physically and push it through mentally, and really shatter any type of belief of what I could do physically, what else can I do? And that's kind of what a lot of people in the ultra community, I believe, probably go through as well. So that kind of started my journey, and just thinking back about then, up until now, if you follow me or if you're new to follow me, since then this podcast came to fruition probably 5 months after that, because I was doing these races throughout the year. I wanted to talk about it more, learning about a lot of nutrition and just all the different stuff that I've been learning. So this podcast came to fruition, which is Elevated Lifestyle Lab. Now it's became a brand, turning into a brand we're about to launch as a supplement company. We have like 30 plus supplements that we're going to have on our website. We're going to be giving back. We're doing a huge fundraiser this year, which I'll be telling you guys hopefully in the next week. We're going to be releasing everything. We got some really exciting stuff coming up this year. But just to think back, like 2 years ago, like I had never ran any of these races, and then fast forward that year, I ended up running I think a 12-hour at 50K, and then I did a 24-hour at the Icarus run, and then the year after that we didn't do that was 2020, so last year was all shut down. I think that's how it was, maybe 2018, something like that. And then I did the 6-day last year. And not only did I run for 6 days straight, 240 miles, but I also was able to raise like almost $8,000. So we were able to feed like 64,000 people. And it all kind of came, it's just crazy how it works, because this, like it's one of David Goggins' kind of his quotes. What he says is like what kind of changed his mindset, which has helped me through a lot. And I challenge you guys to ask yourself the same thing. But like, what if, like what if you do whatever you've been thinking about doing? In my case, like what if you were able to run this distance? What if you were able to go further than that? And then as the year led on and I wanted to do it for a purpose, what if I inspire others to live a better life? I started my podcast. What if I start a supplement company and sponsor myself in a 6-day run and able to raise money and feed 64,000 people on Thanksgiving? What if, like that, the two-word question is, it's pretty powerful, and it's kind of taken me all the way to now. So I wanted to hop on with you guys a little bit just to share my reflection of, what I've been thinking about just in the last 2 years, how I've progressed, what's came to fruition, like I said, with this podcast, doing a race tomorrow, doing another 6-day race in May, have a lot more races coming up this year, starting the supplement company. I mean, it all started just kind of from taking the leap of like something new, like diving into something new, pushing my limited beliefs of what I thought I could do physically and mentally. And I kind of started with that question, like, what if? Like, I'm going to give you guys that homework assignment this week. Just like something you've been wanting to do: read a book, write a book, do a podcast, go for a run, ride a bike, play the violin, learn a guitar. Like, what if? Like, what if you took a lesson? Like, what if you took the step and got an office like I just did so I could officially set up shop in here? Like, what if you were able to change somebody's life in the best way possible? Like, what if you were able to inspire the closest people around you to live a better life? Like, what if? Like, so I'm going to leave you guys with that. It's super powerful. Stay tuned for tomorrow. Race starts at 8 a.m. So remember, 10-hour race starts at 8 a.m. I'm going for 50 miles. So my 2 years ago was 34. I'm going for 50. So stay tuned, guys. Have a great weekend. Remember, what if? See how far you can go with it. Thanks, guys.